Hey friends, Mario here. Hey friends, it's Mr. Ma. We are live. We are doing a Dubois and we are in paradise. Check it out. I'm going to spend a few minutes, maybe 20 minutes or so. I just wanted to share this with you because we're in paradise. This is called Fenglin. As you can see, we're on one of the tourist cars and it's taken us up the mountain. 我在做的直播. Yeah. 国外的直播. We are at Maple Valley. Well, that doesn't sound very sexy, does it? The Chinese name is Fenglin Gu. Fenglin is maple, Gu is valley. And we are not far from Cailonglin Vineyards, where, as you know, I have launched and released my amazing Mr. Ma's Bin 88 award-winning ice wine. What an incredible story. And that's what this video is all about. That's just what I'm doing. Sharing the stories, telling the stories and building the brands of amazing things that are happening in China. Pretty soon here, we're going to see some really gorgeous scenery as we're Shenzai Pashan. Now we're going up the mountain. So where are we? You know, beautiful places all over the world, right, friends? Beautiful places all over the world. And in China, we used to live in Hangzhou, which has a reputation as being one of the most beautiful places in the world, um, or at least in China. But we moved to Shenyang and we start exploring southern Liaoning province, and we find out that it's every bit just as beautiful as Zhejiang province. Beautiful green, relatively low lying mountains. You know, not super high mountains. We're not talking 7, 10, 15,000 feet. Uh, just low-lying, beautiful mountains. And what we're going to be doing here today, there's a picture of the tourist maps. What we're going to be doing today, the reason that I wanted to go live is to try and capture the changing of the leaves in the autumn season. It's not quite as beautiful as it could be yet. Oh, there you go. Seeing some red there. Look at this. I wanted to do this today to capture some beauty of the changing of the season in the autumn. It's cold today, by the way. It's about 9 degrees centigrade. We're heading up into the mountain. I think it's dropping down to about 8 degrees. And I'm wearing just enough clothes, to be warm enough. This driver's driving pretty fast, I got to tell you. There's some people walking all the way up. Good for them. Oh, that's an old lady. She's an old lady. Wow, they're walking this far? Wow. There we go. Yeah, beautiful mountain stream all the way down. Oh, by the way, the other reason that I'm going live today is because yesterday was heavy rain. So check it out. The mountain stream right now is quite heavy. The water coming down is quite heavy. We got a lot of water flow because yesterday was the all day long, just pouring heavy rain. So come check it out. Here's where we're going. There's a path all along. Yeah, check it out. This is just from the last starting 2 weeks ago when I realized it was a big decision to rebrand my channel. It was a big decision to rebrand Mr. Ma's China Adventures. And this is one of those first adventures. And this is exactly why I rebranded it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Here's a map of the place. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I appreciate and I know how important it is to talk about the political topics. And I got, you know, built up a good media business on those political topics. So I do appreciate it. Here's some beautiful color changes, more red, leaves changing red. I appreciate that. I do. I appreciate that I became a voice on China. I appreciate it. It's important. I care about it. China's my home. And the Western world is lying their butts off about China. It's upsetting. It's really upsetting. But at the same time, the real thing to do is to tell the stories of the many amazing and wonderful things that China has done, is doing, and has to offer. And that's what it is. So I've got a very strong focus now on building the brands and telling the stories of China. So Mr. Ma's China Adventures is broken down now, and I'll continue organizing it better. Broken down now on the playlists of the site. There's that beautiful autumn changing of the leaves. Nice, huh? Really beautiful. And like I said, we had a heavy rains yesterday, so the water flowing down the mountain stream today is much stronger. And therefore, I think everybody agrees, it's more aggressive, it's much more beautiful. Really fantastic to be here. The water's crystal clear, of course, up from the mountain peak. Just fantastic. Look at this beautiful rock of moss. You gotta love nature. And of course, every country has its versions of nature, whatever it might be. I mean, here in China, there's desert as well, but it's mostly the beautiful green mountains and forests, streams and lakes. And of course, again, every country has their beauty. Oh, I just thought of as well, I want to say, while we're exploring along, but I also want to thank my colleagues. I haven't done it myself yet. My colleagues with their YouTube channels doing such a great job. And of course, I'm referring to our executive producer for the War on China show, Fernando, along with Brian and the Barretts, so many other people, Noel, who are currently battling more ridiculous anti-China stories, which are nothing but lies and fake stories. That's what they are. They're lies and fake stories. And these guys, the most recent one about the CNN, this whatever, this ridiculous police detective whistleblower guy, and the Uyghur tribe. He also was a witness at the Uyghur testimonial, the Uyghur tribunal. It's like a joke. It's really unfortunate. You know, it doesn't mean that there's not individual cases where maybe some people were caught, where they were relatively innocent, not guilty, but their family members were guilty. And so maybe, you know, you get caught up. You get caught up, as in any country. If you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, when a country is cracking down on crime and terrorism and arresting people, you might be in the wrong place at the wrong time and end up a bit of a victim. That's true for any country, you know. And so maybe there's a few cases where that, even a few hundred cases, but they take that. I mean, look at all the offenses the other governments of the world have committed against. I don't have to tell you about the Afghanistan situation, all right? So, you know, yeah, along the way, were there Uyghurs who were treated harshly and shouldn't have been because the country is cracking down on terrorism to keep everyone safe? Sure. I've been inconvenienced many times in my life by the government of the country in which I lived. Think about it. I remember being down in Mexico on vacation, and I remember being harassed by the police and whatever was going on. I mean, and I was innocent because they're keeping the law. So these things happen in every country. So, but they turn around though, and they try to make it like China's doing something extra bad, and it's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. Okay. If there's a genocide in Xinjiang amongst the Uyghurs, where's all the Uyghur refugees, and where's all the dead bodies and all the Uyghurs? Should be hundreds of thousands of Uyghurs, like hundreds of thousands of Syrians and Iraqis and Libyans and Lebanese, people from Lebanon trying to get out of there, and photos of misery and devastated cities and blown up towns and dead bodies and refugees running for the border. Where is all that evidence? Show it to me, baby. Nah, it's just ridiculous. And unfortunately, people in the West are easily brainwashed. So yeah, that's part of life. We all deal with it. We all talk about it. But at the same time, like I said, I'm so happy to be here sharing this with you, because this is the China Adventures, the good stuff, the great stuff, the terrific stuff, the natural stuff in normal daily life that we're supposed to enjoy and appreciate and feel blessed. Isn't that right? China is right now the largest, safe, stable, successful, capable country on the planet. And folks, thank heavens it is. Because if China wasn't doing well right now, the rest of the global economy would already be in 10 times worse of a meltdown than it's already experiencing. You see how the American economy and stock market is freaking out because they're concerned about instability in China? What else causes the markets to get so topsy-turvy and volatile? Instability in China is number one concern. Oh, the electric market, there's power rationing, some instability in the supply chain. Oh, shoot. Oh, okay. Oh, if China's having those problems, the rest of the world has massive problems. Think about it. China is the growth engine and stable rock of the world. Why would you want to destabilize it and not be a friendly, cooperative neighbor with it? And on that note, I'll stop talking about politics. Just terrible. China has so much to offer, and I'm so excited and happy to be living in Shenyang, Liaoning province. Well, during the Qing dynasty, most of you don't realize this was the center of China. Deep, long Chinese history began here in the northeast. The Japanese invasion, the Mongolian situation, All these things were up here in the Northeast. Deep, long history of China back to the Qing Dynasty. Shenyang was the capital of the country. So there's great history and great stories. And again, my wife is from Shenyang. This is her hometown, or Shenyang. We're not in Shenyang now. We're 3 hours south. Wow, look at this. I'm going to walk carefully. Oh, how beautiful. Wow, how beautiful to share this with you. Oh, so great. I'm going to pop out. My wife's down there somewhere. Here we are popping along. So this is it, guys. You're going to be seeing more and more from me, these walk and talks, whether they're out in nature or in the city. But this is what I'm going to be doing. Because again, it's got to be where we're still talking about the important issues, you know, the societal and geopolitical. But I want to show you China and my life in China, 22 years worth. That's what's worth showing everybody. You know, I notice on the other channels that do well on YouTube, again, it's not my main focus, but I appreciate the other channels that do really well sharing the society and the culture. You know, Afu's channel, Fernando's channel, the Barrett's channel, so many others. Guilo's channel, just sharing what's going on in the real world down here on the ground in China, which right now here is up in the mountains in southern Liaoning province. How fabulous. By the way, I sort of did this on the improv, so I see some of you making comments, and I appreciate it. I'm gonna stop and take a look real quick at comments, but I'm holding my phone in my hands, so I didn't plan this real well. So I'm gonna go back through. Yeah, Kevin, thank you, sir. Good to see you there. Wow, intense rain in Beijing, huh? Well, by the way, I saw the news. There was this crazy downpour of like 29 inches of rain in a day in northern Italy. That's a disaster. I mean, it happened in Germany, it happened in Zhengzhou in China, and then it just happened in Italy. Quay, how you doing there, buddy? Thanks for being with me. Nice walk and talk. Yeah, I agree. It's a nice walk and talk. Ah, what's this? Okay, I know exactly what this is. Remnin Rubao. I'm excited to say they're a great partner with me. They've interviewed me many times. Go to my Weibo. I should get them up on YouTube. I haven't done that yet. I've done several interviews, videos, articles with Remnin Rubao. That's the People's Daily, right? So you know China Daily, the English. Foreigners think that China Daily is the biggest Chinese newspaper. No, 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 no. That's the English version for the outside world, and that's great. It's also for China. But Remnin Rubao, People's Daily, I mean, that is it. That is the largest Chinese newspaper. Ah, so the message here is to tell you average temperature is 23 degrees centigrade, and this air up here is known to be, super high level of oxygen, really super pure air. By the way, I saw the PMI on the way here at the bottom of the mountain. they had a PMI data, computer digital readout, and it was the reading was 17, which is as pure as it gets. I mean, that's anything below 20 is super, super pure. But even on that note, the PMIs in the major cities of China now have improved tremendously. They used to consistently be, I hate to say it, around 80 to 100. And I'm talking about Shanghai, Shenyang, Beijing was even worse. They've gotten much better. Shanghai or Beijing, Shenyang, often now hovering in the 30 to 60, up to 80 range, which is much, much better than they were. The air in the city of Shenyang, which when you consider the size of these cities, the improvement in air pollution has been amazing. Speaking of which, air pollution and power rationing, what's going on? What's that all about? I explained it in my previous video. Please go watch my new previous video where I sat down at my desk for 44 minutes and I gave you guys a big update what's going on. Okay, so the problem is that China's economy has been booming for the last year. Again, so important to keep the global economy running. China's the engine. China's the oil. China's the source of the world. And you can, if you're not happy about that, you can blame the greedy corporate executives and Wall Street shareholders who sold out the country, sold away American manufacturing and sold it off to China. And now China's sophisticated and innovative up the supply chain, kicking everybody's ass. Well, what that means is, oh, see here, Red Maple Peak. Yeah, so Maple Leaf Square, that's the square at the bottom of the mountain, 1,330 meters. So that's 1.3 kilometers away. That's about a 1 mile walk back down the mountain. That's what we're doing. But I'm going to end here in about 5 minutes. So China's, because my battery's running low. So China, the economy's been booming, which is a problem because the factories have been cranking out productivity, and that means they've gone past the amount of emissions they were supposed to reach as the emission standards and limits. Okay, China's huge effort to meet emission standards and clean up the air, clean energy, zero carbon by 2050, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All these things incredibly important. Well, guess what? When your factories are cranking out 30% more, that makes it a lot tougher, doesn't it? That makes it a lot. Wow. Do I want to go up these? Do I want to go up these steps? So there's a strain. Wow, those steps go all the way up that mountain up there. I ain't going up there. So this has put a strain on the country needing to meet emission standards. And how can you meet the emission standards when your factories are having to crank out so many goods to supply the world in the middle of a global pandemic that has not gotten much better, by the way? So that's the problem. So Beijing turned around and says, hey, you know, we got to ration power. And coal's gotten expensive. Why? Well, part of the reason, not that big a part, is the deteriorating relationships with Australia. Yeah, so no more coal imports from Australia, but there's plenty of coal. That's not the major problem. The problem is the government's favoring the larger national coal suppliers and processors, and because they're cleaner. They're cleaner. The smaller local coal companies, a lot of them kept cheating because they're greedy. They don't want to spend the money. So the government has started pushing them out of the market. A lot of them going out of business, going bankrupt. They're squeezing them out because they're polluting too much. Now you know the story. That's the root motivation of what's going on, guys. So from there, the government now does have a bit of a squeeze on power supply to the factories. But at the same time, the factories are subsidized. So if the government has to pay more money, if the state-owned national coal enterprises have to pay more, They can't pass the cost on to the factories because the amount that the factories pay for their electricity is fixed. So they could go to the solar grid and the wind power grid and buy more electricity to make up for the shortfall, but the state grid doesn't want to do that. Why? Because it costs more. Solar power is available from the grid, wind power is available from the wind grid, but it costs 50% more than the coal. So they're sticking with the coal for now. So it's a balance between money, keeping the economy going, not interrupting the supply chain too much, and meeting emission standards. It's a balance between those three things. Hey, look, you're a country that, number one, has to take care of the needs of 1.4 billion people, plus the global supply, manufacturing, and supply chain needs of the entire world. Think about what I just said. How would you like to be one of the governor people that has to run that country? Not me, baby. That sounds like way too much responsibility. I'd much rather be up here in the mountains sharing the beautiful Fenglin Maple Valley Stream walk with all of you. And that's what I've done today. I'm going to end it right now because my battery's getting down. This has been a great walk and talk. Thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe. Please encourage others to subscribe. Please feel free to support the channel at my PayPal, whatever you'd like to do. Much appreciated. Follow me on Twitter. And thanks, everyone. Most importantly, everybody, be safe. Be wise. If people are talking to you about something, make sure that they can back it up with evident, observable facts and reality, things that are clearly understood and obvious and known to be true. Don't let people BS you. Don't let yourself be brainwashed or believe stupid things. The world's got a lot of problems. We all need to be wiser than ever. Appreciate all of you, and God bless all of you. We'll catch you next time.